of a Confederate monument onto the ground. They've cut it in half to make it easier to move. It weighs an estimated 100 tons. This is a monument to 44 Civil War dead. There's been controversy over this monument here in the city of St. Augustine, touted as the nation's oldest city. The city council in June voted 3-2 to move the monument, to relocate it to a spot about 19 miles from here. There was heavy pressure from Black Lives Matter and other activists who said that this was a symbol of slavery because it's a Civil War monument, and they demanded that it be moved. Some of the city officials, city documents and memos show that the city was concerned about civil unrest in the city. Tourism is the biggest industry here in St. Augustine, and so if you have all kinds of protesters around, it sure isn't going to be good for business. But in any case, the decision to move the monument was fast-tracked, and now we're here some weeks later, and they are getting ready to lift this monument using a huge crane to lift it onto the ground. Some of the opponents of this relocation plan are worried that the monument could crumble. It's been here for 141 years in the same spot, and so there's a lot of concern about how structurally, whether it's going to hold together. The inner part of the monument is believed to be made of bricks, and then the outside is made of coquina, these clamshells that are pressed together into a kind of a soft rock, and it's somewhat fragile. So there's worries about whether it'll stay together. Workers have been here for at least an hour getting the braces. There's a metal brace around the structure. They've been putting the cables and other equipment around the structure so that they can safely lift it off the ground. There have been protesters here, especially on weekends, objecting to the relocation of this monument. Right now it's just the workers, and there's some press here, local newspaper, local television station, but no protesters inside as far as I can see. The monument, there's a little bit of mixed reports on whether there are any remains under this monument. There have been a few reports that there are, but my sense in talking to experts and other people is that there probably aren't. The monument is a memorial to 44 men and boys who died in the Civil War. They were members of the St. Augustine Blues, a militia group that went to fight on behalf of the Confederacy to fight against the North. 44 of these men and boys didn't come back. They never got the bodies. And so this monument was put up to remember their sacrifice. The moving of this monument comes just one day after workers lifted a tomb of a Confederate general, William Loring, lifted that tomb and put it onto the back of a flatbed truck. And the destination of all these Confederate memorials here they're going to be taken to a fish camp, as it's called, on the edge of the St. Augustine River, where people will be able to visit. It'll be a park-like setting, and people can visit it. Opponents of this move say that you're taking these historic monuments in a city that's known for its history, a city that really makes its livelihood off of history, and you're taking these monuments and moving them out to a spot where from a practical sense, there aren't going to be thousands and thousands of tourists going out there. Right now, this location, it's called the Plaza de la Constitución, and it was established by the Spanish. The Spanish settled St. Augustine in 1565, And this plaza, I've read that it's the oldest public space of its kind in the Americas. This monument is the oldest Confederate monument in Florida. The monument has been right on this location since 1879. The original memorial was established 7 years earlier in 1872 on private land of a church not too far from here. And this was a difficult time back then for St. Augustine. The city was occupied. The supporters of the Confederacy couldn't just do what they wanted. They couldn't put their monuments anywhere they wanted. So it took 7 years before they could actually put this memorial in a prominent place. So the descendants of the 44 war dead, they have filed suit against the city of St. Augustine to try to stop this relocation, but they have lost the lawsuits, and so the work is moving ahead. So now, as they continue working here, let me see. I see there's some comments coming in. Thanks for joining in. We have here, all the historical narrative is a lie, according to a commenter called the Flat Earth. And then we have Ruby Slippers saying they did it with Joe Pareto and people fight over football. So is the new spot public land too? That's a question from John. No, the new spot is private land. And the new spot is private land owned by, I believe, a gentleman, a businessman named Randy Ringhaver. And then thank you for joining here. We have Hanso Best D giving you a shout out. Thanks for joining. And then John, I like your comment there. St. Augustine is gorgeous. It is. It's a beautiful little town. Beautiful town. Yesterday I was broadcasting live and my phone twice overheated and went black. But right now it's just after 6 a.m. in the morning, and here in Florida it's beautiful right now. It's probably low 80s, so that's not too bad. We're still sweating out here, but at least it's not up near 100. So here's a question asking, this is from the Tiny Big Bang Theory, asking, so why are they removing the statue? Well, originally back in 2017, city leaders had voted and decided that they were going to contextualize this monument. That is, they were going to place bronze plaques near the foot of it, near the base, and they were going to do other work that puts into context some of the current criticisms of the Civil War, of slavery in particular, and that seemed to be the way the city was going to go. But then in May, George Floyd was killed by police, and that set off, as you know, a nationwide protest over police violence, and there's been really a reckoning over racial issues here in the United States, and that led the city council here to change its tack. There was a new mayor. The new mayor, Tracy Upchurch, is a strong proponent of moving the statue, and there was a 9-hour, 10-hour public meeting. There was a lot of debate, and they ultimately decided to move it. Here I have a comment from John. It's humid as hell in Orlando. Man, it's humid here too. I changed shirts 3 times yesterday. I was so sweaty. So the moving of this monument really has created lots of anger among supporters of this statue. But at the same time, I think that from the point of view of some of the African American activists, they're relieved that this monument is being moved. So what I'm told by the contractor who's moving this, his name is Jeremy Patterson, and he operates a company out of Long Island, New York, that specializes in the moving of historic monuments. And what he told me is that they are going to lift the monument, as he called it. They're going to pick it, and then after lifting it, they move it, but they don't put it on the ground right away. They're going to wait 10 minutes before they put it on the ground and make sure that its structural integrity holds up, and then they'll put it on the ground. At least that's the plan, as I understand it. So here's a question from John. Have there been crowds there protesting? There have been quite a few protesters on the weekends. During the week, not quite so much. Back in, intermittently, there have been at key moments, there have been dozens and dozens of protesters, both for and against. But after the decision was made to relocate, I haven't seen any Black Lives Matter protesters around. And why should they come around? Because they really won this battle. And one of the key supporters for moving the monument is a reverend named Ron Rawls, who is, I believe he is from Alachua County, Gainesville, but he is the leader of a church here in St. Augustine. And he has been a big proponent of relocating this statue. Here's a comment: forcibly removing the truth won't change anything. And then another comment: probably to protect it from protesters. John says, wonder what they'll put there in place of it, or nothing probably. It's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. So I've been coming out here for, I don't know, 10 days maybe, and for the most part, well, until yesterday, I was not able to get inside the fencing where they've been doing work. And yesterday I got inside the fencing and got a close look when workers removed the tomb of General William Loring. And this time around, the contractor was kind enough to let me in here along with a couple other members of the press. So very thankful to them. You know, the contractor has put up with a lot of abuse. The police have too. Protesters have really come here and given them the dickens. So you know, it's an emotional issue. And I don't take sides. I just want to try to get the word out about what's going on and cover this important story. It's a real tumultuous time in our country, and I think that stories like these are important. So here's a question. I don't understand the purpose of removing the statue. Well, I would really like to interview some of the opponents of the statue, and after I do that, I could give you a better idea of the purpose of removing it. But from what I've read concerning their comments is that they see this as a symbol of slavery, a symbol of a dark period in the past for the United States. Supporters of the statue say it's nothing of the kind, that it's more like a tomb for the unknown soldier, or a tomb for soldiers who didn't come back. 44 men and boys who fought in the Civil War with the St. Augustine militia and never returned home. Sometimes the bodies were discovered until their farmers would be tilling the land, and a body would turn up, and then they would discover that there's a body there. That's according to Jill Passetti, who is one of the descendants of a man whose name was on this monument. So there's a lot of, I've talked to Jill and others who are connected with the families, descendants of the war dead, and there's quite a bit of bitterness and hurt over the removal of this monument. Jill Passetti said that she, growing up as a little girl, this would be the spot where she would come with her family to remember her ancestor who fought in the Civil War. Okay, looks like they're moving. They're gearing up to move it. got a signal, thumbs up to move it. There it's moving. Moving it very slowly, knowing just how fragile it is. the statue is still not on the ground. My understanding is that they hold it like this for several minutes above ground to kind of test the structural integrity. Whoa, look at that guy under it. I guess they're laying down some wood beams on the ground below, so they can put it onto a solid surface and not set it just into the soft soil, the lawn. So here's a question. Are there remains of soldiers? It doesn't appear that I don't believe there are remains of soldiers. That's the prevailing view. There have been a few people who've said they think that there are rumors that there was a bag of bones, some sort of collection of bones, but that is more hearsay, I think, than anything. So I guess we wouldn't know for sure until we get it out and dig below it. But what I've read, the most common view is that there are no remains and that this is a monument to 44 Civil War dead. Yeah, here's a comment. Getting underneath that looks pretty risky. That's what I was thinking, man. I don't know if I'd want that job. This monument, the entire thing, now this is just one piece, but the entire thing is estimated to weigh 100 tons, so you may be looking at 30 tons, 35 tons right there. Yeah, no masks. Actually, I see a few workers with masks. Now that I look closer, there's one right. Oh no, you know what? I'm wrong. I thought I saw a mask. Okay, so now they're. Looks like they've got it. There it is on the ground. Here's a comment from Pigeon Claymore. I don't think the statue should be distorted, but I don't think it should be marked as a good statue if it's a Confederate statue. This particular statue didn't have any Confederate markings on it. It is a memorial to Confederate soldiers. What some of the supporters of the monument say they've objected to is reinterpreting the original meaning of the statue. They say that it was merely a marker, a way to remember their dead, and didn't have anything to do with trying to glorify slavery or anything like that. So, it's a controversial issue. Here's a comment asking, where is this? This is, I'm in St. Augustine, Florida, and St. Augustine is north of Daytona Beach and south of Jacksonville. We're pretty much in I would call this Trump country. Donald Trump, nearly 4 years ago, won the most votes here by a pretty large margin. So it's been successful so far. There were a lot of fears about the monument breaking apart, but so far so good. They've managed to get this monument down onto the ground in one piece. They did it slowly, cautiously, and there it is. So the part that remains to be taken down is this here. This is the large base of the monument.
Four strings, all welded to uniform. We had four D-rings up top. We had four safety chains up there in case we didn't strap the rope. They couldn't go nowhere.
But it worked out. But it worked out okay, didn't it?
Couldn't ask for better. Wonderful. They did a hell of a job. This is our welder right here. He deserves to be on the front page right there.
You know what?
64 years old, went out here sweating his ass off every day for me.
I got some great pictures of you.
Yeah.
And
Boy. Had one heart attack, one stroke.
wow.
He drives truck for us every day. More house. He's our house puller and he's our welder.
Is that right?
Unbelievable man right here. He deserves the fame.
Put me on the front page.
I got some very nice pictures of you.
I like to see that people know I'm still living.
Well, good for you.
Still
Well,
working.
if you send me an email, I'll send you your pictures.
I don't have no email, but I'll get mine. I'll get my boss
Okay.
to do it for me.
Yeah, if you get somebody else to send me an email, I'd be glad to send you those pictures.
Send email.
Okay, thank you.
I'll get Ron to send me email. Well, we'll get the pictures. Yeah, well, it was like 3 days ago.
I saw. It looked like a heck of a job. I saw you hanging off the side of that thing.
I don't know.
We're going to ask you if they're putting to work again. We're going to ask everybody.
I'll move out. Thank you very much,
Right,
Jeremy.
yeah.
I appreciate it.
Sounds good.
Okay, so that was Jeremy. He's the head of the contracting company that's moved this, and he's asked me to move out of here, so I'm going to get out. Thanks, sir. You too. Okay, so back out on the outside here. And as you can see, there's no protesters around. There's a First Coast News right there. And it's funny, they're removing a bell over there. You can see that other crane. Because I had a worker came over to me this morning and said, "Hey, is this the crane to remove the bell?" And he was looking for a different crane, but there's some other project. You know what? I'm going to go see what this bell is. I'm sorry, I just have to see what the heck are they doing here. Okay. I mean, a Confederate bell? I wonder what the story is here. Why do you need to take a bell down? Why take down the bell? Oh, okay.
For the 200th anniversary of Trinity.
Oh,
We're going to
okay.
use it to ring it the new year. We couldn't ring it anymore, so Bird Company, premier bell company in the United States, they were founded the same year this bell was founded in 1842.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, there's so many cranes around, I wonder what's what.
There you go.
So you'll be able to ring it again. What church is this?
Excuse me?
What church is this?
My interest, I'm the junior ward.
The church. What's the church called?
Trinity Parish.
Trinity. Is this really old, this church?
1821.
1821.
Yeah.
My gosh.
That's
Well,
our 200th anniversary.
hey, here's one that's not controversial, a removal of something.
Yeah, no, this is holy ground. This
Yeah.
is,
No
God-
protesters.
This is God's work right here.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. So here we are. This is a bell that didn't ring anymore, so I'm broadcasting live. Bell didn't ring anymore, so took it down so they can restore it. That's a great thing, very nice. Nice to see the restoration of something. Here you can get a close look at this bell. Look at that. Wow. Cool. That's really interesting. Got a question from Rukin. You were a Fulbright scholar. Yes, amazingly I was. Many moons ago. I'm now an old guy. But yeah, I was in the 80s. I was a Fulbright scholar. So, this is the church. Beautiful. Beautiful church. Check it out. Very nice. So the news media got a twofer here. Got 2 for 1. Okay, I'm just going to walk over here back to the monument site one more time just to check it out, see if there's anything else happening. Looks like it's around sunup. Now that we have more light, you You can see a little bit better over here. So got a question here, what's going on? Well, one Confederate statue, which is behind this fence here, it was cut in two, and the top half is now on the ground. So you can see the top half right there on the ground. So just to give you a little bit of a sense of place, I'm going to walk over here and show you the Bridge of Lions. Looks like a beautiful morning. So there's a comment saying, zoom it. Yeah, this camera, I don't know if I can zoom with this one. I have an older iPhone. But let's just walk over here and I'll show you. Get a shot of the Bridge of Lions. You can see the water, and then you see that we are in Florida. So just over the weekend, there were protesters right out here on this corner. They were protesting the removal of the statue, and I asked them about it, and I said, well, you know, this is a done deal. Why are you protesting? And they said, well, it kind of morphed also into a pro-Trump protest. Not that everybody at the protest supports Trump, but I think the majority said they did. So I'm walking over to show you the Bridge of Lions, and I'll sign off from there. So get my morning exercise here. This is a gorgeous town. So here's a question, what's the situation of COVID-19? We have had quite a few cases. I think, you know, Florida has been pretty hard hit lately. It's less populated here than in South Florida, and so we haven't seen as many cases as down south, but certainly it's something that a lot of people are worried about. I say a lot, but I also have to say that there are plenty of folks who run around without masks. Okay, so I got my mask on. I appreciate you tuning in to watch this, and as there are updates, I will try to let you know what's going on.